special guest. Special co-host guest, and technical difficulties abound. That picture's badass though, right? The Defenders one?
Yes, very
sick.
much so. I love it.
Alright, I still don't know why Hangouts isn't working with my camera, but
It's all good, man.
that is lame. But if we can get someone in the chat room.
Is there anybody in the chat room? Or did they all leave us?
They probably all left, but it's no big deal.
Well, supposedly there's 5 people in here.
Yeah, sometimes that takes a minute to refresh.
Rajar's there.
Okay, so hey Mox, how you doing, Mox?
He says Indiana represent.
Mox, can you hear Skene? Say yes. Unless it's unless the answer is no, then don't say yes.
For the love of all, it's good to say yes.
I know, right? Oh my god, this
Yay!
Awesome, thanks, man. Everything else sound okay? Levels okay? If so, we're just gonna get right into it. We're not gonna have any bumpers this time because I had to forego my mixer. In fact, I can't even hear myself talking, which is super weird. I usually hear myself in my own ears, which I enjoy.
See, I hate that. I hate the sound of my own voice.
After editing hundreds of podcasts, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, I'm more used to it than I used to be.
Yeah.
Mox.
Welcome to the chat, Mox. I appreciate you being there and giving me the feedback we all need. You know what I mean? Oh god. All right. I'm gonna move my camera a bit so it looks like we're actually talking to each other, maybe. And it's not usually Will's sitting over there, and so like the sideways thing makes sense, but this might be a little better.
There we go.
How's that?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, man. I'm JT tasked me with with playing the pub side on because I haven't done the pub side yet, so I'm gonna try to do that when we're done here. So if I'm awake, that'll be good. All right, so we are not going to have any bumpers, and that is totally fine. Maybe, unless they can hear the bumpers. Let's find out. Anybody hear that? If so, we have bumpers. If not,
No.
F it. Did you hear it, Skene?
No.
Okay, yeah. So no one's going to be able to hear that but me. Okay, perfect. Wait, Mox, you heard it?
Oh, wow.
All right, I might just put them in later, but I'll do the intro one. Sorry if you can't hear it, Skene. You just won't know when I'm going to start, but then I'm just going to start talking. All right, so it's working. I know, right? Thanks for hanging out, guys. So we're going to get started here in a second. Real quick, Skene, let's see. At some point, I want you to put your link to your show. Do you want to talk about your show tonight? Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, okay. I just want to make sure. And then, so we'll do that. And I think... everything else is, yeah, we're going to do the rest of this on the fly. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Half the time I put the show together, this is a little, I'm broadcasting live, I forgot. But sometimes I just put the show together and Will hasn't seen any of it yet. And you can't tell at all once I edit it, right?
Hey, just winging it. It's all good.
Oh, no, that's what we do. All right. So, all right. Anything we need to do before we start?
I'm good.
Yeah, usually, Mox, I have a different setup to where everybody can hear everything. But like I said, when we have a guest on, apparently my mixer is bullcrap. So I'll have to figure out the tech side of that when I have more time. But I don't. So let's get this show a-rolling. So I'll just tell you when I'm going to start it.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to start it right now.
Last escaped from the Death Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner, now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 98 of The Usual Podcast, the podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, and with me tonight, my special co-host guest is Mr. John Skene. Say hello, sir.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, I'm stoked to have you back, man. It's been too long.
It has, but hey, it all works out in the end.
I know, right? Let's talk about what we're drinking, and then we'll talk to you a little bit. So I am sitting here enjoying my usual frosty beverage, and conveniently, it is a gift from one said Mr. John Skene. It is an Indiana brewing company called Sun King Brewing Company, and it is called All Right, All Right, All Right, which I have featured on the show before since you send it to me, once, twice a year or so. I love it. It's just a really nice beer. Can you tell me anything about that brewing company? Have you been over there?
I have not, but I'm actually going to go with my oldest son now that school is out, and we're going to take this thing called the Brew Bus downtown Indianapolis.
I'm intrigued.
And yes, so $30, you get to go to 3 different breweries and try flights at each brewery, and Sun King is on that list. So definitely looking forward to that.
That sounds like a beer lover's perfect deal, man. $30, that's it.
Oh, I know. I couldn't believe it was only $30. So I was like,
if only I lived in Indiana, which I don't. But anyway, what are you drinking, man?
Well, tonight I didn't have time to stop and pick up any frosty beverages.
Maybe because I told you like 3 hours ago we were going to do this.
Well, and see, Indiana, we have really strange liquor laws, so you can't just stop at a gas station and pick up cold beer. You actually have to go to a liquor store and get it. So having my 2 girls, youngest daughters, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old in the car, I didn't really want to park in a liquor store parking lot and grab beer.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just having a nice nightcap with some Gentleman Jack. So
awesome.
Just kind of a nice mellow way to end the evening.
Awesome, dude. Well, I'm glad to have you back. So, since you've been on the show, you have started your own podcast, have you not?
I have. My good friend Joe, he and I have been friends for quite some time, and definitely comic book geeks together. Started our own little podcast. It's called the Geeking Hour. We've only got 5 episodes out so far. We record about once a month. It gives us plenty to talk about. We mostly talk about the comic book movies, but occasionally we actually throw an actual paper comic book in there and talk about it as well. But it's just two guys just talking about comics and geek culture and just the things that we like, and we rarely use show notes. So
that sounds familiar, except for the show notes part. Because if I didn't, who knows where we'd be. But it's nice to kind of sit down with a buddy, and that's why Will and I started this whole thing anyway. It's just an excuse basically to sit down and talk about the things we like. So I think that's awesome, and I'll have a link in the show notes to the Geeking Hour, his podcast. So you definitely got to check that out for sure. And so you ready, man, to talk about some SWTOR and some Star Wars and such?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right. So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter. And Mr. John Skene is with John R. Skene. Is that correct? On Twitter. Awesome. And we have the timestamps in the show notes, of course. If you're not a SWTOR fan, we don't have a whole lot of SWTOR or Star Wars this week. So I feel like Mr. Skene and I will get off onto some geek tangents later. But definitely hang out if you're in the chat room. Thank you so much for being there. I will do my best. Usually, I'll do my best to watch the chat room. It's not my forte. But thank you, everybody, for being there. I saw Mox and Jim and BB, and I think Lady came in at some point. So thank you all for hanging out. So let's get into Star Wars: The Old Republic. So, dude, have you been playing the game? I know you've had some stuff going on.
Yeah, I've played a little bit here and there. Still kind of working on the whole command crate and leveling up on that, doing that grind. My problem with it is I've got 3 different tunes that I'm trying to do it on. So when I log in, it's kind of, well, this one's not even with the next one, so I'm gonna grind out on this one for a little bit. And
right, the alt dance, right?
Yeah, exactly. The strategy though doesn't necessarily work because I still don't have anybody even at 100 yet, and
That's
I know
all right.
some people in our stream right
Yeah.
now in the chat room have actually hit 300 within like 2 days or something like that. So
Yeah, some people I like to give a hard time about that. Maybe their name starts with M. Who knows?
yeah, right.
But don't feel bad about it, man. Like I said, I actually pretty much the only thing I've been doing is playing WoG on Friday nights for the most part, and I just hit like 109 or 10 on that one tune. The rest aren't even close. So you're ahead of the game on me as far as the CXP grind. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, actually, I saw that on your Monday stream where you hit it. I think everybody kind of hit something at once on that stream, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, that was a fun cleanup night, which I'll talk about in a minute. So what do you like to do in game most, man? Since I haven't talked to you in a while.
Smack things with a lightsaber. That's what I like to do.
That's why we play Star Wars games, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't necessarily have a favorite thing to do. It just kind of depends on what my mood is. Sometimes I like to just jump into some PvP and have fun with that. My favorite thing to do, honestly, is WoG because when everybody gets together and I have time and I've got the gumption to stay up late. It's more fun that way when you have that many people and we're all in Discord and having a good time, and it's not the normal ops group where everybody's kind of intense. It's a lot more fun that way.
No, we love it when you can make it, man. And when we get 16 guys together and it's, we have our kind of core group of people, but then, people come in, new folks come and go. It's a ton of fun. And that's basically what I'm going to talk about, what I did this week, since you're asking. So no, we did a WoG 16-man Dread Fortress on Friday night, and I've been streaming it on Friday nights, which is a ton of fun. And we had the couple weeks with the influencers. There was a little hiccup last week, but I'm not going to talk about that so much. Actually, no, I talked about it already. But we did 16-man Dread Fortress. We got through the first 3 bosses, and then we did a WoG cleanup night on Monday night, and that was just 8-man, but it was fun, man. We got through it. We had a really good group both nights, and we got some people through it that had never seen it, and it's not an easy op, and there's a lot of mechanics and stuff like that, so it was a ton of fun. So WoG is always a good time. So if you're interested in beginning ops groups and you're listening to this, definitely check us out on the Harbinger. We're at unholyalliance.org, and it's Wookiee Mistake and Unholy Alliance Guild. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for a great guild, you can't beat that guild because
no, we have some good people.
Yeah, everybody's so welcoming and it's not intense, and everybody will take time and help you out if you're a new player. So definitely hit us up and join.
Exactly. All right, so just a couple news items, dude. We had maintenance on the 16th, which was a couple days ago on Tuesday. And we talked about this last week, but there's some changes with the cartel market coming with this latest pack. And there's some controversy about it. So the one thing I'm going to bring up is it says, we talked about the bronze versus silver. People were asking, like, so it was common to have bronze before, and now it's going to be silver. So the follow-up to that was, what do I want to say here? They're asking, so it sounds like, so Eric basically says, so what you're asking about sounds like bronze, silver, gold packs, such as the silver decorations pack. So somebody was saying, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have all the decorations in like one deal? And I think they tried this, but it didn't work out. I don't know if you remember this. They tried it a while back, but it kind of went away.
Right.
And
sometimes it seems like they have an idea and they want to go back and revisit it, which is great. From time to time, but the timing always seems to be just a little bit off.
I agree, man. And the main thing, I haven't bought packs in a while. I actually might jump in and grab this Steadfast one just because they have made those loot changes. There won't be the bronze items and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I haven't dropped any money in the game in a while, so I'm not that concerned about that.
Did I read somewhere that you're going to get a grand chance cube with every pack now?
Yeah, but not what they did was they made it so you don't get 2 chance cubes in every one. You're going to get 1, but there was because of the way the loot table was, you would sometimes get 2, and people weren't happy about that. So you'll get 1, but not 2, which is fine. So you're kind of guaranteed to get at least something fairly recent as the way it's set up now, from what I understand. And then there's an issue with the unlock prices, and they don't have any current changes planned, but they're listening to the concern about the basically the collection unlock charges prices. I think they might be inflated or something like that. I don't remember. Let me go to the original post here real quick and find out what the hell they're talking about. Oh no, that's the thing. Oh yeah, no. Let me go back because that's what they were saying. They were saying that. Oh yeah. So the unlock costs are off. So silver quality and bronze drop rates. And they said, let's see the quality. Oh no, that's not it. Hold on, let me find it. This is when the editing is fun. Because then I just edit this little stumble out and we just move on with our lives. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know if anybody remembers, if anybody's seen this. Mox might know. But I guess I haven't looked in game, but there's something off with the collection prices, with the way the tables are set up. So people are complaining about that. They're not going to change it yet, but they'll fix it at some point. Probably.
The community's complaining about something in SWTOR?
I know, it's weird, right?
What?
It's like they're not 100% happy with the way the game is. It's just so,
I don't get it.
It's just so weird. Oh man, I love it. All right, so real quick, the one of the other things before I get into this like makeshift discussion topic I put together here. The last week we talked about they're going to have on the vendor using your coins. What do they call them? Your CXP, what do you call them? The tokens? The command tokens. So you'll be able to buy tier 1 gear. And the thing I like about it is that they are, I can't figure out the right words now. They are legacy bound. So the fact that they're legacy bound, so I can go over to one of my other tunes that's level 70 that I need gear on, and I can buy a whole tier 1 gear slot. And the clarification is people were saying, well, it's probably not going to be the left side. It's just going to be the right side. And this is, again, part of the roadmap that Keith is kind of dangling, saying, oh, it's going to come soon, TM, right? And he said, so the clarification is it is the entire gear set. So that's everything, earpieces, relics, and everything. So the thing I like about that is, level 70, if I want to bring a DPS, if I ever do that one day, then I can just buy it. And, we have like a surplus of these tokens, so I don't know. What do you think?
No, I'm all for it. I mean, it's, if you can use it across your whole spectrum of tunes, it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, for sure.
I'm surprised that they did it this way because I really thought it would just be one side and that would be it.
Well, I'm glad they went that way, and I'm also surprised at how un-alt friendly the command system was in the beginning, and I'm glad they're kind of trying to make that better. But I mean, we're not the only people that have 20-something tunes. Some people have way more than that, you know what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense to try to make it a little better. Speaking of the roadmap, Keith came out today, and this was just a couple hours ago. He said, I want to let you know I'm still on target to deliver the SWTOR roadmap this month. I'll share with you the direction for each SWTOR gameplay area, our plans for improving a variety of in-game experiences, and insight into how we'll be communicating with you going forward. In the meantime, I'd like to continue providing you with a weekly update. Last week, I gave you a few of the highlights for our next game update coming in June, which is 5.2.2. And he said, here's another one. You'll now be able to customize Theron's outfit.
Oh, nice.
So I'm wondering, so he uses Theron. I'm hoping that's just an example because you have all these companions, right? And they're locked into these outfits. I'm hoping that you'll be able to customize more than just Theron, but maybe he's just using that as an example. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I would like more customization. I mean, I don't play with Theron that often, so
right.
It would be nice to use it on the players I like, or my companions that I like to use more often than not. So,
and I'd like it to be more than. I mean, I'm imagining it's going to be a customization deal, but it'd be nice if they kind of went back and just made it cosmetic, and you can just throw in kind of like an outfit designer for companions. That's something I'd like to see.
Mm-hmm. Especially, I mean, like for me, I used Lana Beniko for most of it, so I would definitely like to change that up after seeing her in the same outfit for the last 2.5 years. So
look, she needs a new outfit.
She does. She does.
It's kind of brutal. Yeah, no, Mox, you're right. It better be more than just Theron. I think he's using that example. Let's hope it's not just Theron. Otherwise, gee, I wonder if the people would be upset if that was the case.
Well, nobody complained.
No, nobody will complain about anything in SWTOR.
No.
The one thing I liked about there's only 2 other items in the dev tracker this week, and the one was there was a question for the story devs on how to justify the Sith pureblood Inquisitor. And I saw this come up, oh man, these are old school days. When I was working for Tor Wars back in the day, there was some controversy about that when the game, maybe it was beta or right when it came out, because the Inquisitor storyline, you're a slave, right?
Right.
But Sith purebloods, obviously, that doesn't quite sync up. So let me open this up. Where's that? Okay, so he said, this is Charles Boyd, obviously, story guy. He says, I think the first backstory you have there is more likely than the second, personally. As brutal as the Sith are to one another, there must be cases where powerful pureblood Sith is overthrown and their surviving family members are enslaved. And it would certainly be quite the trophy for the Sith who overthrew them. If purebloods are held to the most powerful, then defeating and enslaving them must be seen as an impressive display of power indeed. So I like this because it's a little story-driven and role-play-driven for people that really are asking the right questions of the story dev. So I thought that was kind of cool. Do you have any Sith purebloods, dude?
Yeah, that was actually my first character. My very first. Yep.
What class was it?
Inquisitor.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have first-hand experience.
Yeah. If I can remember that far back exactly how the storyline went. But, the storyline was enjoyable. And I think that's one of the things that we lose sight of sometimes with the game is just make it enjoyable. Yeah. It doesn't always have to fit perfectly. Sometimes things that don't fit perfect are just fine as well.
Exactly. I'm with you. All right, one last thing. There is a Windows 10 update issue, and I haven't encountered this yet because I don't have Windows 10 on this machine, but I do have it on my laptop, but I haven't booted the game up on that. I guess what's happening is when you get to the login screen and you try to click something, the game crashes. So
I had that happen after the last update.
You did? Okay.
Yes. All the machines updated, and I was kind of worried because of the whole cyber attack malware thing that happened last week. Right. So I wanted to make sure all the computers in the house were all updated, and then I had an issue, but then I turned the computer off, rebooted it again, and it was fine. So
yeah, there's a couple other workarounds in this link. I'll just leave it in the show notes. Part of it is there's an issue with it if it's in windowed mode or full screen mode, so you can kind of bounce back and forth and get it to work. But BioWare is working on a fix, so eventually they'll fix it. Anything else for SWTOR, my friend, or you want to move on?
Let's move on.
Cool, man. Let's get to our Star Wars section, and Mother's Day just passed, right? As we know, I mean, right? We should know.
Yeah. My wife wasn't happy with the toilet brush I got her for Mother's Day.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, so what do I get? My wife usually, thankfully, my wife usually just likes to garden. And so usually I'll get her some plants and I'll spend the day pulling weeds and stuff like that and making the yard look nice for the summer. So that's usually what we do. But speaking of Mother's Day, Billy Lord posted some awesome pictures for Mother's Day to honor her mother, Carrie Fisher. So I have a link in the show notes. I don't know if you see it, but oh man, this one on Instagram is just really adorable. It's Billy Lord as a kid and a young Carrie Fisher. They're on a train, stuff like that. It's just really cute. One of the things she says is she taught me by her own example that the most involved person is seemingly a contradiction. Lord said at the event, they are both the strongest and the most vulnerable person in the room, and that was her, and that is Leia. So she had it looks like it was more than just pictures. She did, and let's see, where is it? Both actors will appear. Oh, Lord made her first public appearance at last month's Star Wars Celebration when she paid tribute to her mother, and that was a quote from that. So, but this picture is really kind of adorable. So, any thoughts on Carrie Fisher? I haven't talked to you when that happened.
No. I'm anxious to see what happens with the rest of the movies. I know this next episode is done. I just hope it. as they move her out of the storyline, it's done tastefully. That's the thing that I think about the most.
I think with 9, they've already said they're not going to do it CG, but I think they're going to have to figure out a way to write her out or figure out something. And I know that's already kind of happened. So we'll see how it goes. I can't wait for The Last Jedi. December is going to be good. So
right.
Let's move on to something I think is kind of ridiculous yet hilarious. There's a Force... I'm sure you can guess, but there's a Force Awakens character that is the fastest rising baby name.
I saw this article. It was funny because it was kind of the end of the night. My wife and I were both just kind of breezing through our phones.
Right.
I asked like, so what do you suppose it is? Just trying to get her to guess, and she's like, I have no idea. And when I told her it was Kylo, she was like, what?
Right.
She couldn't believe that.
It's kind of nuts. Are they using? I'm trying to figure out if they're using the. Are they saying Kylo? Is it Kylo Ren or just Kylo or what? I mean, I just think it's insane. So. This post is funny. It says, as other baby names that increase in popularity, they're Creed, Benicio, Adonis, Fox, and Kai. I don't know where some of the other ones are, but it's just funny how geek culture kind of seeps in. And as a teacher, I always come up against students' random names, and it's just like, oh, I know what your parent was thinking, kind of thing. So,
right.
I just think that's kind of cool. And we've talked about this quite a bit on this show, but Ewan McGregor, I think he was on Kimmel or he was on something, and of course he would still love to do an Obi-Wan movie. I haven't asked you, what do you think of an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie with Ewan McGregor?
Oh, I would be fine with it. With the Star Wars comic line, some of the like little one-shot issues are the Diaries of Ben Kenobi. And those stories usually are really, really good.
Yeah.
So if they took something either out of that or use that as kind of a framework and were inventive with the storyline that way, I think I wouldn't have a problem with it.
No, I would really enjoy it. I loved the Kenobi novel. Unfortunately, it wasn't canon. But oh man, there's elements of that they kind of toyed with it a little bit in the comics. Where they kind of, what he was doing in isolation. But I don't know. I would really enjoy it. And I know Ewan McGregor wants to come back to this. And I love his Obi-Wan. So that would be pretty awesome. Let's see what else we have here. You're going to get a kick out of this. All right. So Rogue One writer exposes Lucasfilm's top secret writing restrictions. Okay. So the dude who wrote Rogue One. All right. He said, hold on, let me find it. Star Wars story screenwriter Gary Whitta recently revealed some details during a spotlight panel at Salt Lake Comic-Con's FanX 2017. So he says working for Lucasfilm is like working for the CIA. Okay. I love this. He said Whitta relayed a story about how he got the gig to write the Rogue One script. And then he says, where is it? He says after receiving the document, he'd get a phone call with a 16-digit passcode to unlock it. Okay. Whitta remained in his house for most of the day anticipating the call, except for 5 minutes, and that's when the call came. He ran back inside only to find the voicemail saying they try again on Monday. And he said he spent the whole weekend bouncing off walls and even tried to guess the document's passcode with no avail. So they password protect this stuff is like, I just think that level of security, I think, is just amazing.
I can believe it, and really, and hopefully I'm not spoiling anything later on here in the podcast. But
no, you're okay.
With the kind of hijacking of some of the videos that have come out, who's to say it couldn't happen with the writing as well? Or somebody's taking it hostage for ransom.
Well, and that's the thing, man. I mean, and Star Wars fans, we love speculating, and we love, trying to figure out how things are going to happen. But personally, as a Star Wars fan, I would rather have this conversation with you or Will or any of the people that we know that love this franchise. But I don't want to know spoilers until I don't want to know spoilers ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
no,
if the entire script got leaked, for example, that would be a huge hit, I think, to the Star Wars community. So I'm glad they take such precautions. And yeah, I will mention the whole shoot, what is it? Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean deal later, which I think is also funny. All right. So we do have some Marvel Comics news. There's going to be Star Wars Jedi of the Republic, and that is going to be a Mace. What is wrong with me? A Mace Windu comic. And I am not sure if this is going to be a one-shot or not. Do you know anything about this?
I just saw this today.
Yeah. I just saw it. Yeah.
It'll either be a one-shot or a four-parter. I mean, it's not going to be a regular series.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it, for some reason, sells better than anything they put out.
Yeah. It says 5. It says 5 issues. So that's
5
good.
issues.
Okay. Perfect.
So I'm looking forward to it. Of course, it says Star Wars on it, so I'm buying it.
Exactly. And I love Mace Windu. There's a reason I carry a purple. I love purple anyway, but I carry purple lightsabers in the game. So in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So I'm looking forward to this. I am, as I've said before, woefully behind on all Star Wars comics, and I'm hoping to catch up over the summer before it gets to the point where I cannot. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm kind of in the same boat. And I know the Captain Phasma one will be out as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, the Phasma one I think will be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Phasma in The Last Jedi. I think that's going to be cool. So let's see here. Han Solo. Woody Harrelson talks a few details about his Han Solo character. Now, I've been kind of avoiding this stuff, but there's really no spoilers in this. So do you want me to read this? Are you good with that?
Yeah, go for it. No, okay. Go for it.
So Harrelson says, I'm totally psyched to be making a Star Wars film, but the secrecy is on another level. What I can say is he's a good character. He's a mentor to Han and a criminal, but good at heart. And so the article says it sounds like the veteran understands the expectations Lucasfilm has in keeping the secrets. But again, this isn't really that surprising. And I still am wondering, when the hell are we going to get a title for this movie?
I don't know.
I'm assuming maybe D23 or Comic-Con. I mean, it would have to happen soon because think about it. I mean, we're going to get Han Solo in May, you know? And that's 6 months after we're going to get The Last Jedi. So I don't know. They have to do something soon.
It'll be D23. I don't think they're going to do too much. Since it's a Disney property, I don't think they're going to announce too much at Comic-Con.
Right.
Although I wish they would, but
no,
I just have a feeling.
I don't think anything new is going to come out of Comic-Con. I think anything new is going to probably come out of D23. But then they'll kind of make sure everybody at Comic-Con hears the news as well. You know what I mean? Oh, looks like someone familiar is in the chat. What's up there, Will?
What's up, Will?
I never even explained why Will's not on the show, but he had something come up, and so it looks like he's home now. And so, yeah, we're all good. And he concurs, D23. That's his. Well, look, man, you're not here, so I don't think you can help us. So we're just going to move on. I gotta talk smack to him while he's there. All right, so let's last couple things here. The Last Jedi, there's an advertisement. I think it was out of Japan. Let me open this up. And there's no real spoilers here either, but... Oh, I didn't ask you. What do you think about Woody Harrelson in the Han Solo film?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I like Woody Harrelson at just about anything. So
yeah, me too. I'm a fan of that, guys. So this says there's an advertisement, the Japanese promotion, a promo, and then it was kind of translated. So it says the most shocking truth in Star Wars history will soon be revealed, and there's no spoilers in here. I've already looked at it. A new generation's tale of the struggles of light and dark, virtue and evil has begun with the death of Han Solo. Spoilers, sorry guys. In a galaxy where the First Order and the Resistance are fighting against each other in a war, the heroine Rey had the Force awaken within her. What will happen to the galaxy when Rey and the only remaining Jedi, Luke Skywalker, meet? Kylo Ren has fallen to the dark side of the Force and killed his father, Han Solo, as the successor of his grandfather, Darth Vader, and a high-ranking enforcer of the First Order. Where will his ambition lead him to? Furthermore, Kylo Ren's mother, the leader of the Resistance, Leia, Poe, Finn, and BB-8 will embark on a new mission, and the story has finally begun, and it will lead to a mysterious climax. Okay? So... the mysterious climax is where they kind of are. This is one of those non-stories, but at the same time, I like that kind of setup for the film. Any idea what the mysterious climax could be, since we're speculating?
No,
I know it's almost impossible to even think about. Right?
It could go anywhere.
I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of along those same lines as like a I'm your father moment. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's what they're going to try to go for, but I don't know if it's ever going to be that impactful. You know?
I wonder. One of the big things that's been talked about is this going to be kind of the Empire Strikes Back,
right?
And after as much as the Force Awakens followed A New Hope, it kind of makes me wonder if it will be, which I'd be great with. That's my favorite. So
agreed.
We'll see. So far they haven't done anything wrong. Even the spinoffs with Rogue One have been fantastic. So whatever they're doing, I'm fine with. Just keep doing it.
I think I'm with you. I think the only thing they have to really be careful of, Mox, that's hilarious, by the way. I think the one thing they have to be careful of is if they're too close to the format of Empire, they're going to get the same kind of flack they got with Force Awakens. But I think it should be as dark, and I think it should seriously be they're going to lose, and that's what happens in the middle of these trilogies. The good guys lose at the end. And have to kind of come back. So I think they have to. They're going to hold on to that. I know, but I'm curious what the mysterious climax is going to be.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out in December.
Yeah, and Woody Harrelson in a French maid outfit. I'm in. I don't even care.
Okay, I don't know if I'd be down for that one.
It'd be hilarious to see, at least, right?
Exactly.
All right, man. So. Parks news. We always throw this at the end of Star Wars, and this is not Star Wars related, but it is geek related, and it's going to kind of segue into our last section here. But there's a Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth ride coming to Six Flags. Okay, and this is Six Flags in Sacramento. I don't know if you open this up, you can see what it looks like. I'll be honest with you, you could not pay me enough to go on this ride. Okay. It's basically, it says that the thrill ride will house 40 riders at a time, propelling them to speeds of nearly 70 miles an hour as a gigantic round circle of seats rotates counterclockwise along the swing. The swing will offer a feeling of weightlessness up to 147 feet in the air. No. Nope.
I do it.
No way.
That's what.
Nope.
I love roller coasters, so
that's definitely not a roller coaster. That's a death trap, bro. That is a death trap. And I'm gonna tell you why. I don't like being dizzy. I love roller coasters. I don't like spinning things. That is not only spinning, but also hurling me around. That sounds terrible. And it sounds like if you're anywhere near that ride, there's gonna be puke like flying in the sky, and that's just gonna be the end. So I don't know, man. I'm not.
So I take it you don't do the teacups then?
No, no. I watch my family do it, and I stand there and I eat a churro. That's what I do.
See, I'll do it as long as I'm in charge of the wheel.
No, I won't even get in it. And the kids are like, "Oh, you're not going to go on?" I say, "Do I ever? No, I don't. I never go on it." There was this guy, and I'll never forget this. I was like 12, 13, because we used to go to Disneyland every year. Since we're talking about parks news, there was this guy that. There were certain days of the week where he was an annual pass holder or whatever. He would go and he'd only ride the teacups. And dude would sit on the teacups. He'd spin as fast as he could. His head would be like right above the wheel thing. And then it would stop. He'd get out. He wouldn't even stumble and go back to the front and go again. He would just do it over and over. I don't know. I can't do that kind of stuff, man.
No, I couldn't do it that much. Nope. Just once.
Yeah, it's a little too much. All right. See you, Mox. Yeah. See you, Mox, JT, if you're already gone.
Later, Mox.
Thanks for being here. All right, man. So let's get to our usual roundup, which is our pop culture section. And we have some sad news to start with, dude. I don't know if you were a Soundgarden fan. Were you a Soundgarden fan?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll let you talk it. I'll go from there.
I'm just sad about it. I loved Soundgarden. It was kind of like when I really was getting into music and buying CDs. Yes, CDs. And that kind of thing. But Chris Cornell died literally today, at age 52. And this was only a few hours after he had done a performance. I think they were in Detroit. I'm going to open this up. I think he did a performance in Detroit. Everything went well. And the update on CNN basically is that the cause of death is that he hung himself, which is super sad. His wife and family were really, love when the ads pop up. His wife and family were really just kind of caught off guard. Like, all of a sudden now he's gone. So he did a full set with an encore, nothing odd, outstanding performance. And yeah, and that was it. So it's we don't usually cover musicians on this show, but this one kind of hit. I loved their music. So
yeah, he Soundgarden was one of the first kind of that I had a cousin who had moved to Seattle, and he would send me tapes, not even CDs, but cassette tapes of music that he had recorded, and Soundgarden was one of them. And then actually his brother Peter Cornell was in a band called Inflatable Soul.
Yeah.
And he had sent me that, and I used to play the heck out of those back in the day. But yeah, it's too bad. And I mean, 52. I mean, I'm not that far away.
Well,
so I mean, it's so young, and it just makes you wonder what goes through these guys' heads,
and that's the thing. And it's there's more and more of this grunge alternative section where these lead singers just kind of these tragic ends to these careers, whether it be young or now, obviously even kind of young. I mean, 52 is not old, and now he's gone. So that was super sad when I heard that, and that literally just happened today. So if you're a Soundgarden fan, if you're a Chris Cornell fan, it's really sad. So hope best to his family and all that kind of stuff. This one also kind of hit home. I don't know, we missed it last week, but Michael Parks died on May 10th at age 77. Now, he had some illnesses already. I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Parks, but if you've seen Kevin Smith's Canuck movies, well, not even those, actually, Red State, and then the Canuck trilogy with Tusk, he's a brilliant actor, and really sad to see him go. And if you want to hear two people who knew him well talk about him, basically do what I'm not doing well. Listen to the latest Hollywood Babylon episode 278. Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman talk about him. And I mean, there's tears, there's awesome stories being told. Brilliant actor. But yeah, so that was another sad thing.
Yeah, I had actually remembered him the most from Kill Bill.
Yeah, he was great in Kill Bill, right? Mm-hmm. He's been in a ton of stuff, an amazing actor, and from what I understand from anybody who's worked with him, I mean, you just don't have negative things to say about someone like this. So, and I know there was some issues. I don't know 100% what they were, health-wise. Even when he went and did Tusk for Smith a few years ago. So, it's sad to see him go, but at the same time, he left behind a huge body of work that we can all enjoy still, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so on not as much of a lighter note, I don't know. Do you watch Riverdale, dude?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't. Unfortunately, there's certain things that I have to. I can't imbibe in all of the geek culture I want to. It doesn't mean I won't revisit it later on, but I have not watched it yet.
Well, there's several things while we're on this topic of things you just eventually stop watching, right? The wife and I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while. We stopped watching that. Blind Spot. There's several shows that we just couldn't keep up on anymore because we, got it really into Flash and Arrow and all that stuff. But but Riverdale is surprisingly good. And the actress, I'm going to pull her name up here, that plays Betty in the show. And again, we've talked about it on this. It's not your Archie comic. This is a dark kind of Twin Peaksy style take on it, and I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. But the actress Lily Reinhardt, who plays Betty Cooper, she basically reveals to EW she had been really trying to break into the business for the last 7 years, was really dealing with depression and stuff like that, and literally this role saved her life. So she said, and when I'm feeling depressed or sad, I remind myself how far I've come and how I didn't let my depression consume me. I think that's awesome. There's so many of us that deal with depression and see our dreams kind of too far away. But I like hearing stories like that. So I'm glad that show exists, and I'm glad that worked for her. So
absolutely.
So definitely check it out, man. If you want to add something to your list.
Yeah, the wife and I tend to watch watch more shows during the summertime and over Christmas break when it's fall and spring or soccer season. So we're always traveling around everywhere.
It's also easier. It's easier to catch up on stuff too, man. When new stuff isn't coming out in the summer, most of the shows go on hiatus or whatever. So then or the season's end. So then you can be like, all right, I missed that season. Let's binge it. Right. So that's
right. Cool. Yeah. We do and I'm sure you do the same thing. We do hey, one more.
Yeah. Oh, should we just do another one? Right. It's not too late yet. Right.
Yeah. One more.
All right, dude. So then we also have, okay. So this goes back to the hack thing that we talked about. And if you've heard this, obviously hackers took the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie and held it for ransom, which I was watching Trevor Noah the other night, and it's just like, okay, so when do you decide like that's what I'm gonna hold for ransom is a movie? You know what I mean? I just think it's really interesting. I don't know. Do you have any insight on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously whoever did it wanted to get their share of Disney money too.
Sure. We all do.
Yeah, right. My thought on it is this: I think it was handled appropriately by Disney in the fact that they didn't pay.
Yeah.
They just basically flipped a middle finger to him and said, "Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to. We're still going to release it next week, and that's all there is to it." And Netflix kind of did the same thing when Orange Is the New Black was held ransom as well.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that's setting the precedent where maybe that stops and
it's just interesting. Like, I think the joke that Trevor Noah said, he's like, okay, so why not, you wait till the 5th movie to hold it ransom? It's like, we all know what's going on. It's like, I just thought that was kind of funny, but
right. We're going to get Johnny Depp and eyeliner and here we go.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We all know it's going to, we don't know the story, but it's coming out next week. I'm not that worried about it. So, all right. So as far as comics news, I thought you might find this interesting. So I want to make sure I threw this in here. Scott Snyder is talking. He's going to be leaving Batman, apparently.
Well, it would be the second Batman that he's left in the last couple of years.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So it looks like he's working on a run right now, and that's going to kind of be it. He says, I've been thinking about that story for years, and he basically says, after that, that's going to be it, I think. So,
yeah, I know. I think it was Batman Metal that he's been wanting to do for a while.
He says so like a Mad Max kind of thing.
It looks pretty interesting. So, I think some of these writers, you spend so long with the same character.
Yep.
It's good for them to change up to different books.
Yeah.
It keeps things fresh. Or you grab a different book and you start writing a new character. You can take them down a different storyline. So and DC. We actually were talking about this on the Geeking Hour podcast, our last episode. DC's killing it on their storylines right now. It's just really good writing. We just want it to translate over to the movies. So.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, and we're gonna get to some DC drama here in a couple minutes. But yeah, it would be really nice because I hear the same thing. The comics are legit, the movies are not. I'm hoping Wonder Woman proves us wrong a little bit. I'm really looking forward to that. But we'll see how it shakes out. Let's get to some quick little Berlanti news first. There's season descriptions for each DC TV series that have been released. I'm not by no stretch of the imagination going to read them all, but in case you don't know what the CW has and you're not watching them, Supergirl is the only one that I am not up to date on, but we have Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, which I love, Riverdale, Arrow, and Black Lightning, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So there are write-ups for all of that, which I think is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arrow is going to be on a new night, and this has to do with the I think adding Black Lightning to the lineup. So the way it's going to look now, and I don't know, do you watch the CW shows? I don't know. I forgot to ask.
I do. Yes.
Do. Okay, so on Monday we have Supergirl and then Valor. I guess I don't even know what Valor is. What is that? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, so anyway, that's happening. And then Tuesday is going to be The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, which is the same as it's been. Mm-hmm. Wednesday is going to be Riverdale. And then we talked about this last week. They're bringing back Dynasty. which it just makes I just love it. I just think that's gonna be hilarious. And then Thursdays are gonna be Supernatural and Arrow. So that's interesting. So it's the same time, but a different night, because Arrow was on Wednesday before, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
yes.
Wednesday. Yeah. And then Friday is going to be Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, then Jane the Virgin, which I don't watch either one of those. But that's the CW lineup for fall.
Well, I think they put Arrow on Thursday night to be the lead-in to Twitch TV for the usual podcast.
Right? I think that's important.
I think that's why that happened.
Brooding. I'm with you, man. I like it. All right. So speaking of Black Lightning, and we didn't do trailer time tonight, but next week we'll watch. There's a trailer for Black Lightning, but it's officially not in the Arrowverse. I don't know much about Black Lightning. Will was talking about last week. I don't know if you know much about it, but there's a lot of buzz around it. I just don't know really anything about Black Lightning.
I'm not real familiar with it. No. I'll watch it, though. I'll at least give it a shot.
Oh, I'm going to watch the mess out of it. And he says we do not intend to do 5-way crossover. Basically, they're not going to add another one to cross. It's hard enough, I think, to cross over 4 things.
Plus trying to keep all these storylines within, meshing together. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it with 4. So
yeah, no, it's insanity. I don't know how they do it either. So we have Black Lightning. Let's see, Justice League. There's a little bit of an update. I don't know if this is much of an update on the film's overall status. And let's see, Justice League. Oh no, this is not what I thought it was. Is it?
Yeah, that's dark.
Oh, yep. I'm gonna skip that completely. So there will be no Justice League talk this week, sir.
None.
And I'm okay with that. Aquaman, though, the guy who plays the Black Ranger, Power Ranger. That came out weird. The Black Power Ranger is going to be in the Aquaman movie, and his name is, I'm gonna say it wrong, but Luddy Lin. That's the best. Ludi Lin, something like that.
I like Ludi Lin.
Ludi Lin, good. He played the Black Power Ranger. He's gonna be playing the role of Merc in Aquaman. And in the DC Comics, Merc is the leader of the Men of War, which is the frontline army of Atlantis. And Merc is considered a trusted ally of Aquaman. So that's all we get. So I don't know. Like I said, I never read the Aquaman comics, but that movie was ridiculously popular, the Power Ranger deal. So, we'll see.
I'm looking forward to the Aquaman movie myself because, they've made him look like a total badass, which,
right?
for there to be one character in all of the comic book universe to try to turn around their image, and it looks like they've done it. So
yeah, there's some funny stuff out there, man, especially from Kevin Smith talking about Aquaman and some of his stuff. It's just so funny. But I'm glad he looks like a badass. I like Momoa a lot. I think this movie has some potential, so I'm looking forward to it. So Black Adam, which I know next to nothing about, but The Rock has been pretty adamant about it. I guess it's a bad way of saying it, but about him playing it and making it happen. And so he is going to play Black Adam. And as he was talking about Baywatch, he said, oh yeah, no, it's definitely going to happen. This was an interview with Fandango. And he said, we've had great conversations with Jeff Johns and everyone over at DC. And it's an exciting time right now for everyone at DC because they're in the process now where they are building out their DC universe really nicely. We have a really cool surprise for Black Adam that I can't reveal in terms of where we will see him be introduced. So Black Adam is the arch rival of Shazam, I guess. And Johnson has an idea about who should play the magically empowered hero. I don't think he says it here, though. Anyway, any thoughts, Black Adam? Do you know much about that?
I don't know a whole lot about Black Adam. I'm just vaguely familiar with the character.
Yeah.
However, I am a big fan of these actors or actresses that want to play certain roles within, the superhero universe in general. Give it to them. I mean, obviously, they're going to put everything they have into that character. So.
And putting someone like The Rock into a role he really wants to play, and The Rock being The Rock, I don't know, that's going to really be good for DC, I think. And I don't know, I'm a big fan of The Rock. I'm actually really looking forward to Baywatch, strangely. It just looks like a ton of fun. So,
see, now I don't recall you ever mentioning The Rock on the show before.
Oh no, we've never mentioned The Rock. This is the very first time, and yeah, so he's this guy that may or may not be in some movies that I'm looking forward to. No, like, and then we talked the other day about the Jungle Cruise too. So The Rock is going to be good and stuff. So I just want him to keep doing things. He's fun to watch. So,
Absolutely.
All right, man. So let's see. Ben Affleck. This is weird. Okay, I just have a link in this. I don't know what to make of it. He's talking about the voice. You know, the iconic Batman, gravelly, I changed my voice when I put the cowl on kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about how he's going to... I'm trying to figure out. He says, I'm doing my Batman voice. He told the magazine about his job. No cowl, just the stripped down, unplugged version. I don't know what the hell that means. Is he gonna do the like? I'm just trying to figure it out because did he change his voice that much really in the other movie?
Yeah, a little bit.
It wasn't as over the top as what's his face though.
No, but it was the whole Martha scene,
right? And and is this what we were expecting as Batman viewers and fans? Now it's like, well, what's he gonna do with the voice? Like, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I don't know. We'll see what Affleck does and what happens with this movie because there's been a lot of moving and shaking with that film right now.
Yeah, that one and The Flash both. So.
I don't know. We're gonna get to The Flash in a minute. I don't know if that's even gonna happen, but let's get Wonder Woman out of the way here. So
okay,
there's a Wonder Woman fan day announced. It's actually today. May 18th is officially dubbed Wonder Woman Fan Day. There was some stuff that popped up earlier I didn't link in here, but I have a link to this, and it says Chris Pine and Gal Gadot announced that on May 18th has officially been designated Wonder Woman Fan Day, and there's going to be more details to come, but they're excited about their fans, so that's happening. So we'll see.
I'm excited for the Wonder Woman film. It looks really good.
Yeah, no, the last trailer we watched last week, I don't know. I love the music that they've attached to it, and I just think it's gonna be funny and fun, but also like just really cool. I think they kind of captured Wonder Woman the way she needs to be right now for this geek culture right now. So I think that's good. All right, let's get to the Flash drama. before we get out of here. All right, man. So holy crap. So there's a director, there's not a director, there's directors up for the job that passed. So I'm just gonna start from the top. So Sam Raimi and Mark Webb have reportedly passed on directing the film. Okay. Which is fine, but this film lost its director like a month ago or something like that.
I think it's been even longer than that.
Yeah, I mean it's getting kind of bad. Now reportedly there's an actor that also dropped out, and I don't think this has been confirmed yet. But Billy Crudup, which I'm not sure Crudup. I'm not sure what he was going to play in the film, but he's done. And then Zemeckis might be on the forefront to direct, but I don't know. I think they're having a hard time with this film. The big thing I want to throw in here is that Kevin Smith may or may not on Twitter, and I saw this tweet throwing his bid in to direct the film. He said in his tweet, I know of at least one director who wouldn't pass, but he's more of a director than a director, So he's kind of, he's putting himself down, but at the same time, he's like, and I know he loves The Flash. I don't think he would do it only because it's not
CW Flash.
It's not CW Flash. His name just flew out of my head, but it's not his Flash. You know what I mean? So I just don't know if he would. I just don't know if he would do it. I don't think he would say no if they asked him to do it. But at the same time, I think without his Flash in it, I don't know if he, because he's railed on it a little bit already. In some of his other podcasts. So what do you think of the Flash drama, dude? Do you want this movie to happen? Do you care?
I don't care that much because we get our weekly fill of the Flash. And that's kind of my Flash on the screen, so to speak.
Grant Gustin, that's it.
Yeah, Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, how bad is the script if these directors are quitting?
Well,
you know, sometimes you look at something you're like, nah.
Well, that's what we talked about last week when the other someone else backed out. They're like, "Oh, I'm just not feeling the script." Do they just need to rewrite the damn script?
And see, maybe that's where Kevin Smith can come in. Let Kevin Smith rewrite the script.
Yeah.
Let somebody else direct it. Let him rewrite it, because at least it'd be interesting.
I mean, he's written comics. He knows the subject matter. He has, he can come up with a vision for it. I'm all for it, but at the same time, he's doing 1,000 other things. But to direct, I like that idea better, actually, dude, of him helping to rewrite the script and not direct it.
Right.
I'm in with that. And if the script is right, they can get a Zemeckis or something in there to do it. But I don't know. I am not into this movie really at all. And I think mostly it's because when they said, oh, it's not going to be the Flash that's on the CW, that to me makes zero sense. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. We've talked about it enough times, but I don't want to beat it into the ground. But at the same time, it's like you have an amazing Flash, an amazing cast on the TV, on the CW. Why would you not make that happen? You know what I mean?
Well, and this is where that whole DC Marvel thing comes in. Marvel does a good job of, bringing the TV shows into the movies and vice versa, and Netflix. And, DC hasn't quite got that formula down yet. And maybe they eventually will, but right now there is no continuity.
No, there's not. And I'm hoping The Rock is onto something, going back to The Rock, when he's saying he must have some insight into what they're planning going forward. And I'm hoping that's it. I'm hoping that they're like, okay, we have to make this stuff sync up, or they're killing it on TV, but their movies have not lived up to it. So, I'm hoping they figure it out pretty quick. So, all right, so let's switch out of DC because that's getting kind of depressing. No, I'm joking. But it's just, to me, it's just frustrating. It's not even depressing. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see such amazing DC television. And then when I go to the movies and see, although I enjoyed Suicide Squad to a point, and, there was some weird stuff in there, but, I'm not saying I don't enjoy the movies. They're just not nearly even close to on par with what Marvel's doing,
Nope.
So I think that's just, I'm like, well, if you're not going to do good movies, just stay on TV. You're killing it on the TV, right? So stay there. But everybody wants to have their, universes, right?
Right, but it's hard to make $1 billion off TV. So
yeah, well, and that's the problem, and they're watching the Disney Star Wars Marvel machine cranking out $1 billion every Beauty and the Beast and every Marvel movie and everything else. They're like, well, we got to get some of that, but they just have to get the stories right, and they have to get someone good in there to direct it. That's the problem. So,
right, that's what I was laughing last week when Will said, I forget what they were talking about, and he said, well, it only made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like only $1 billion.
But we're getting to that point where if it's a Disney Marvel deal, it's like, well, it made $1 billion. It did okay. It made $1 billion. That's insane money. When you think about they bought Disney, they bought LucasArts, for almost $5 billion, and they've made how much on the 2 Star Wars movies they've put out, or 3 Star Wars movies they've put out? Is it 3? 2.
2.
2.
2 with the third.
Yeah,
coming.
The third is coming. And then not to mention what's going on with Marvel, and that acquisition has paid so much more. Anyway, I just think when you say, oh, it only made $1 billion, and DC's like, well, we didn't make $1 billion, but they do have an Academy Award winning movie.
That's
so
right.
Let's not forget Suicide Squad is an Academy Award winning film. Oh, God. Anyway, let's move on to Netflix, sir. I don't know. Were you an Arrested Development fan by any chance? Did you ever watch that show? No? Okay, so I loved it. Season 4 came out on Netflix, and what I didn't like about it, which I think I still have a few episodes to watch. I just kind of put it on periodically. What I love about that show is the dynamic between the characters. And what they did with Season 4, in order to get to Season 4, because all the actors were doing different things, they very rarely have, if ever, have the whole family together. They do it's almost like each episode is kind of a one-off with a character, right?
Okay.
So Season 5 is officially happening, and they're aware of the and all the actors are coming back, and I think they've got the feedback, and it's going to be more like the first 3 seasons, which I'm really looking forward to. And so speaking of Netflix, The Dark Crystal, This just
Yeah, I
got
saw
announced
that.
like today, actually. The Dark Crystal is coming back, and that's gonna be a new Netflix series. Which, how badass would that be, dude? And how terrifying? Because if they really capture the Dark Crystal, scares the crap out of me. I don't think I've seen it since I was a kid. My wife loves it, but oh my god. Anyway, thoughts on the Dark Crystal?
I'll check it out. I'm like you. I haven't seen the movie, and I don't know how old I was when I saw it I saw it the first time, but I may have to check it out again.
And I'm wondering what the take's gonna be. If it's gonna be puppets, CG kind of thing. Like I'm very curious to see where they go with it. So we'll just keep an eye on this. I think this is gonna be pretty darn cool, though. Oh, it does say. Wait, Netflix revealed they're bringing back Jim Henson and Frank Oz's seminal film. Oh, it doesn't say. Okay, it doesn't say anything specific. There's a little teaser thing in here too, I think, but I think that's just footage from the old one. Anyway, so that's something.
I'm sure however they do it, it'll be fine. Netflix is just killing it. So.
Well, I was just about to say the same thing. Netflix, they do have some things that are hit or miss, but when it comes to like the superhero stuff and bringing back things like Stranger Things and stuff like that, it's just really good television. So, all right, so Spider-Man news. Let's get into Sony here. Spider-Man is on the cover of Empire magazine. And there's a bunch of cool photos and stuff from Homecoming. And Tom Holland basically is saying he's pitched a couple of ideas to kind of set himself up to play Spider-Man for a long time. And why not? He's a cool Spider-Man, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Homecoming, I'm really looking forward to Homecoming. What about you?
Oh, very much so. That's my Spider-Man, if that makes any sense.
It does.
It's the Spider-Man that I read when I was a kid. It's the teenager that gets the powers, and it just looks really good. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Totally. And it was just so much fun, and I've been wanting to rewatch Civil War recently because I only saw it the one time in the theater, and when he came on the screen, it was just a blast. You know what I mean? And he's got the quips. He's young. He's a kid. I just think it's cool. So I'm looking forward to Homecoming. All right. So there was a pilot for The Gifted, and we're into Fox now, but The Gifted is the X-Men TV series that's coming out. And there's some images. I'm just going to gloss over it because we'll watch the trailer next week. But there's some images captured from the trailer that came out. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but X-Men on TV I think is a good fit. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's a good fit. I think as opposed to the movies, it's kind of the same thing with, like I was saying with Spider-Man, that's my Spider-Man. I think you can kind of flesh the characters out a little bit more and kind of get into the storylines of, most of the people that are, the gifted kids that are in Xavier's mansion and in the school are, teenagers, and they're going through their angst and everything else. So they'll be able to really kind of play with that storyline a lot more than they can in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham are doing well with. That's a terrible sentence, but they're doing well being able to kind of have these story arcs and stuff like that. And I think that kind of thing, I think that's why the X-Men films are kind of hit or miss, is you don't have enough time to deal with that many characters. You know what I mean? And I think having a TV show, I think, is a good fit. So, and then we have X-Men Dark Phoenix, which Michael Fassbender is confirmed for the Dark Phoenix movie, maybe. So that's the only news I have.
And that's one that it was kind of touched on in the second X-Men film. And that is my favorite storyline in all of comics.
The Magneto.
And was the Dark Phoenix.
Oh, Dark Phoenix, yeah.
Saga. And I'm hoping, beyond all hope, that when they get this one, they do it right, because it's a wonderful story. So we'll see what happens.
I agree, man. And did you see Logan?
I did see Logan.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I liked it. I like it. It was definitely dark.
Which I like.
Yeah, me too. And I loved it. Just some of the things that they put in with the storyline to me were incredible. The idea of Professor Xavier getting older and developing dementia and
how terrifying is that?
Oh, it's just real, but it's not something I've ever thought of,
Right.
So, it's just the writing was really good. And that the Hugh Jackman as Wolverine ending that way, I thought was really, really good.
For sure. I really enjoyed it too. We talked last week. Logan Noir is basically the black and white version of the film. It came to theaters, I think, for one night, but it's available on digital HD, which is pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that came out a couple days ago, which I need to pick up because I want to rewatch that movie because I'd love to see it in black and white. I think that'd be sick. So, all right, let's get to Marvel news before we kind of get out of here, dude. And so some news we have is they are planning. Kevin Feige kind of teased a 10th anniversary celebration of some sort for Marvel Studios because I guess we're at the 10-year mark. I guess this is when Iron Man came out. Was what, 10 years ago, right? So that's happening. And of course, in the kind of the same vein, he's hoping one day to reacquire all of the Marvel characters, and of course he would want to. Because
some of those movies that were made earlier on were not very good.
No, they weren't. But it was still, again, early days. It was still cool to see our, heroes on the screen. But at the same time, it's like, oh, that movie was not good.
Right, because the Daredevil one, that was that's the one.
And I love Affleck, man, but that movie just wasn't that good, which is sad because I love the Daredevil that's on TV right now too. So there's that. Anyway, let's see. Jessica Jones. Speaking of the Defenders, and I'm leading up to some Defenders news, which I'm excited about. Jessica Jones season 2. They have a very specific location where they're filming in New York, and it says they're going to be filming on some random street that I don't know anything about, but I've never been to New York. It says according to the areas that they're holding parking, it's going to be around West 44th Street over to 5th Avenue. So some scenes will be near-ish to Times Square, which I think is interesting. I'm looking forward to Jessica Jones. Did you watch the first season?
I have started it, but I have not finished it yet.
The wife did the same thing. I really like Jessica Jones, but I loved the kind of twisted nature of the Purple Man, and I love David Tennant. So to me, I really enjoyed that show. But Luke Cage, I liked quite a bit as well. What did you think of Luke Cage?
Luke Cage is it's kind of a toss up between the first season of Daredevil and Luke Cage as far as the ones I like the most so far on the Netflix. But for me, Luke Cage was, I don't know, just with the music and everything else that was involved with it, just really kind of put it over the top for me. Yeah,
I feel like the story, the characters, the music, it all, and just that Harlem feel. There was something about Luke Cage that I really identified with. There was some people I talked to, it's definitely a slower pace than you think it's going to be. There's not as much of him busting people up, and he spends some time hurt. But at the same time, when you have a guy that's basically, has impenetrable skin, how do you write a story where it's not completely overpowered? You know what I mean? So
right.
I think
there's got to be some drama.
Exactly.
There has to be.
And they did
make it interesting.
And they really did a good job with that. And when they brought in the night nurse and all of that, which I love, Rosario Dawson, of course. It's a really good show. But the premiere date, which I did not actually look at. So season 2, the premiere date is going to be, let me find it here, August 18th. No, wait, that's not right. Hold on one second. It moved. When the Defenders comes out on August 18th, that'll be something we can hold on to for a while. And then it says, shoot, where is it? Maybe there's not a release date for it yet. He said Coulter appeared at Houston's Comic Palooza, and he spoke with fans about Luke Cage. And he said, asked about when the show's second season. Coulter says this, he's about to start next month. And the Defenders comes out on the 18th, and that'll be something they can hold on to. So they're going to start filming next month. But there's no release date yet for season 2. But it's cool. At least they're going to start it, because I can't wait.
Either can I.
All right, let's get to our Defenders thing, dude. So there are some awesome pictures. And since this is not a visual medium, We have a link in the show notes, but it's one of those slideshow deals. But there is a gallery for Defenders. I have one of them up on the stream, which I just love. They're in an elevator. It's just gonna be so much fun, dude. Seeing these 4 characters together, I think it's gonna be great.
And you couldn't have 4 more different characters
Exactly.
kind of combining together. So I think that'll make it even more interesting.
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to this. So there's one of them sitting around the table. Looks like they're having a meal and talking strategy. There's one with the stick and looks like they're about to fight somebody. I mean, there's 20-something images here. I'm not going to go through them all, but I love seeing Jessica Jones together again with, not together again, but in the same room as Luke Cage. And then you see there's a picture, of course, of Rosario Dawson's character, the night nurse, Claire, right? With Luke Cage. So I'm hoping they kind of keep that romance going. And then my favorite photo, I think, is one where it looks like Luke Cage is squaring off against Iron Fist, which I would love to see how the hell that turns out.
Where he hits him in the face.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, so that was it? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really looking forward to Defenders. I've seen all 4 of these shows, every episode, and I can't wait for Defenders.
So what did you think of Iron Fist? I don't know if I ever heard your take on
Yeah,
it.
we didn't really get to talk about it because Will never watched it. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did when I was in recovery. I think I flew through it in 2 days after my surgery. So
yeah, the wife and I finished it. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as even, Jessica Jones and the other ones. It's definitely not up there, but the wife and I actually watched it together, which says a lot. Because she lost interest in Jessica Jones, which I thought would be the last one she would lose interest in, right? I liked Iron Fist. I think one of the criticisms obviously is, how many boardroom scenes do we need?
yeah.
But I liked the dynamic I liked the father-son dynamic, and I really liked how dark that stuff was with the hand. And when they got towards the end of the season, that twist with the hand, I thought was pretty cool. Not to give too many spoilers away, but I don't know. What do you think, man?
Oh, I liked it a ton. Yeah. I mean, it didn't have the music like Luke Cage, but I thought the story was there. I think they maybe could have done it in a few less episodes than what they did. Take out the boardroom scenes. And,
yeah, I agree. I think maybe 3 less episodes to get to where they were going to get to, I think would have been fine. But again, I enjoy these Netflix series, and I liked Iron Fist. I had no problem with the actor. The actress that plays Colleen, I thought was great. And I love the guy, what's the dad's name? I
know who you're talking about, and I'm spacing it.
Anyway, whoever the dad's name is, I love that actor, mostly from 300. He played, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember from 300, he played basically the person telling the story. And I love that actor. I love his voice. So I had a really good time with it. I really enjoyed Iron Fist, but it looks like, I don't know, man. I had no problem with any of them. If I had to rank them, I'd probably put Daredevil, I'd say Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are tied depending on my mood, and then Iron Fist. But all of them were enjoyable enough to where I'm really looking forward to Defenders. So
right, and then we're gonna get the Punisher shortly after that too.
Yeah, and the Punisher I'm looking forward to. That they nailed it. That actor, oh man, he did a really good job with that. All right, so I'm gonna skip the Inhumans stuff, I think, because, well, we'll just say it does have a time slot on the ABC fall schedule. There is a trailer that comes with it, which we'll talk about next week. So the Inhumans is coming to ABC, and it's going to be at 9 p.m. on Friday nights. I don't know if it has an official day starting, though. It doesn't say when it's going to start, but the Inhumans is coming, dude. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Not a whole lot yet. I just know, I think I'd read an article, I can't remember where, but the show kind of got ripped on the costuming.
Yeah, I saw something about that too. We'll see how it shakes out. I mean, you know, it's not every single one of these things is gonna hit, you know. And I think Powerless, I don't know if you watch Powerless, is a good example of that, where you have this DC property and you can pull from this stuff, but the show just didn't get the ratings that they hoped it was going to get, which is sad because I actually really enjoyed the show. But you know,
right, and a Friday night time slot is not
you don't
the best.
You don't want to start on a Friday night.
No.
If you get moved to Friday night, usually it's like, oh, we're gonna try to save you. Here, go to Friday night and see if and see if you can stick around. But yeah, it's pretty bad, man. But we'll see. Hopefully it stands up. Because not a lot of shows last too long on Friday nights. So before we get to convention news, I have a couple merchandise things, and I don't know if you're a Dark Tower guy, or looking forward to the Dark Tower film at all, or anything.
I have not read the book, but I am looking forward to the movie. It looks really good.
The movie looks insane. I've read all the books, and it's this. So I have a link in the show notes for it. But Funko's releasing Dark Tower Pops. And they look freaking cool. They got the gunslinger and the man in black, and this is from Nerdist. They got pictures of it. It just looks so cool. So if you're a pop collector and you like the Dark Tower, you're gonna want to pick these bad boys up. They are damn cool looking. Looks like there's a couple variations of the gunslinger. One with 2 guns up, one with a gun down, and then the man in black. So I don't know. I thought those were pretty damn cool. And then speaking of Funko, because we always talk about Funko, they're unveiling Sci-Fi pint-size heroes. And there's a little gallery in here. So it's basically like just pretty much everything sci-fi. You've got like the Predator in here and Doc from Back to the Future and all that kind of stuff, and Zoidberg from Futurama, but it's those things where you buy the little pack. I get them for my kids all the time. You buy a little pack and you hope to get what you want, and if not, you buy another one, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can spend more money.
Yeah, spend more money, get what you want, maybe. So I just thought those were kind of cool. I think my kids would get a kick out of that, or maybe it's just me.
No,
maybe it's just me. I think I would get a kick out of it.
Like I said, and you kind of nailed it. You saying that you get them for your kids. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. When you buy them for yourself, but you pretend it's for the kids.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'll get this for you. I'm gonna put it on my shelf though, and you can't play with it. Okay. That's how this is gonna go. Okay.
Yep.
All right, man. So we are prepping for San Diego Comic-Con, and we always end our show kind of with Comic-Con info. So one of the links I have in here is tech and gear for San Diego Comic-Con. So if you're new to San Diego Comic-Con, Crazy for Comic-Con, Tony Kim's blog has a really cool, he does this every year and he updates it. This one's neat. There's some stuff that I didn't even think about buying maybe to prep for the trip. So definitely check out the link. Things from phone chargers to things to help you pack and just suggestions and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Zachary Levi is going to host Sci-Fi's Live from Comic-Con, and I think we talked last week where Nerd HQ, which is a big offsite event, is not happening. He is still going to be down there, and I don't think this is the reason he's not doing Nerd HQ. I think Nerd HQ honestly just fell through, which is sad for a lot of people. It's one of those big offsite events where people can kind of go recoup. You can see panels you don't need a badge for, that kind of thing. But he's going to do this Live from Comic-Con thing, and we have a link in the show notes for that. I'm not as familiar with that, but it's from Sci-Fi, and I think he's going to be interviewing people and doing that kind of stuff, which I think will be cool. Also, if you're this is kind of cool actually. This leads into the next thing. SDCC unofficial blog. They usually have some sort of promo, and this year they're doing Uber and Uber Eats. So there's a promo code in there if you want to get, basically Uber Eats is like, I'm standing in line, I want food, let me order some food, and they just bring it to you, which
nice.
I mean, welcome to 2017, right?
Nah,
I just think that's freaking badass. So I don't know. I've never tried it, but I have a feeling I might. So I think that's cool. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is really, really neat. And I listened to the show already. Sadly, they didn't read my question for Darren DePaul, but Darren DePaul was a guest on the SDC Concast, which they do every week, which is the unofficial blog site I just mentioned. And they do it every week leading up to the convention. And essentially, they had an interview with him. They actually couldn't get him to leave. And if you've met Darren DePaul, he is such an awesome guy. I'm really hoping he comes to our meetup again this year. This will be the third year in a row we've hung out with. Last year, we spent so much time just kind of hanging out, going and doing things with him. And he's just a down-to-earth guy. He's a voice actor for things like Overwatch, and he plays Emperor Valkorion in Star Wars: Yoda Republic and all of that. It just
and how much did he embrace the whole SWTOR community?
Oh man, I mean,
just
if you listen to a SWTOR podcast, he probably does a voice for a bumper somewhere, or he's guested on the show. We got to get him on our show, but we've had him on the show last year, of course, for the meetup. But it was just so cool to sit down. We had a bunch of SWTOR fans sitting there, and then Darren sitting there, just one of the crew. Just we're asking him questions, but then he's asking us questions, and it was just. He's just such one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. So definitely check out. I have a link in the show notes to that interview with him. He had some audio problems in the beginning, but when he finally comes back, he answers questions, and they said, okay, so we'll let you go. And he's like, well, I love your show. I'm just going to stick around. And they're like, okay. And so they covered the convention news, and he just kind of chimed in here and there. And his wife popped on. She's an actress as well, and that kind of thing. So really cool guy. So I'm hoping to reach out to him once we solidify our Pucked Cantina plans and say, hey, meet up with us and be on the show again. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, man. So anything else you want to talk about before we jam out?
No. I really appreciate you having me on today.
No, it's funny. We were actually planning on having you on next week, and then when Will couldn't make it, I was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna see if he's available tonight. So it worked out really well. So maybe we'll get you back on next week, and we'll do that. But I appreciate any time you're on the show, man. And if you could, before I get to my outro stuff, just tell people where they can find you and your podcast one more time.
Okay. Podcast name is The Geeking Hour, and you can find that on Podbean and on Stitcher. I'm sure it's in a few of the other podcatchers out there. You can also contact me on Twitter at John R. Skene, and that's Skene on the last name.
Awesome, man.
That'd be the best way.
Cool. And I can't thank you enough for being on the show. And anytime Will can't make it, I will hit you up as last minute as possible.
Okay, hey, no. Right from the soccer field. Here we go.
I'll be like, all right, so we're gonna go on in an hour. You're good, right? I appreciate it, man. So thanks a lot. All right, so thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com, and we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter. Mr. Skene, as he said, is John R. Skene on Twitter, and my usual co-host is Will at I Am Will Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play, and all that. So, of course, if you see us out there, give us a positive rating and like us and share us and all that. If you want to support the show, give us $1 or $2 an episode. You can get our exclusive Patreon content, trailer time, and our blooper reels, and more prizes coming down and some changes to that. So patreon.com/usualpodcast. And thank you to everybody who does that, including you, sir. Thank you.
Well worth the money. Trust me.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we appreciate everybody who does that. And another way to support the show, which nobody ever does, but it's a good deal, audibletrial.com/usualpodcast. We get $15. You get a free audiobook. You can check out Thrawn. There's some Brandon Sanderson books that are 40 hours long. You get for free on us, and we get money and you get a book. So, and we have a supporters page on our website, and we have lots of ways to support the show, but Patreon and Audible are two of the easiest. So, all right, man, I'm gonna let you say the words to get us out of here. So
have a fun, everybody,
and we'll see you all next week. Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I love being on.
No, it's
fun to. I like this podcasting thing. It's a lot of fun.
No, you did great, dude. So yeah, I'll talk to Will and figure out. I got to figure out this tech issue to figure out how we can use our mixer. Because if Will's in the room, we're gonna have an issue with that. But we'll figure out how to get you on between now and episode 100 probably, which is next week, essentially. I'm trying to figure out
coming up.
some. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out something for 100, but we kind of already celebrated, so it's not that big of a deal. But
I don't know.
yeah, right.
You can celebrate again. Any excuse for a
Yeah,
celebration.
I like celebrating things, right?
Yeah.
So chat room, thank you everybody who was there and just showed up. We're about done. But yeah, we appreciate all of you folks who are there. All right, man. So I am going to start figuring this out. So if you could send me, actually, let me take this down. So thanks, chat room. We were going away. I'm going to take this off live so I can talk.